Welcome. I'm Sheila Cox, President of Selectemp Employment Services. I want to personally thank you for choosing us. This next bit of information is to help you be as successful as possible as we match your talent with our opportunities. Please sit back, pay attention. Should you have any questions at the end of the video, please contact your local Selectemp representative. Thank you.
Selectemp Employment Services has created this program to address and help lower the number of workplace injuries and illnesses suffered by temporary and contract employees. This program provides a basic understanding of laws, rules, and regulations designed to prevent injuries and illnesses on the job. Let's look at common workplace hazards that can cause injuries and illnesses. This presentation is not meant to replace site-specific safety and health training that your host employer is required to provide. Reporting safety hazards, incidents, and injuries. OSHA and state laws spell out workplace safety and health rights and responsibilities. First, Selectemp and your host employer must provide a safe workplace. Next, you must understand and follow workplace safety and health laws. If you believe your workplace presents safety or health hazards, please report these to your job site supervisor and Selectemp. You must also report injuries or near misses immediately to your job site supervisor and Selectemp. They will work together to mitigate concerns and future hazards. The goal is to gain knowledge of the incident to prevent further exposure to hazards and injuries. Your participation in an investigation is required and necessary to keep the job site as safe as possible. Failing to report an incident may jeopardize your employment. Selectemp will explain the tasks you will perform before you report to the job site. If the host employer assigns you a different task, please contact Selectemp immediately. Employees are frequently injured when they perform work or use equipment with which they are not familiar. PPE. Selectemp and your host employer will not be able to remove all hazards from a job. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, may be the best means to guard against some of these hazards. Host employers must supply appropriate PPE. Contact Selectemp immediately if the host employer does not supply appropriate equipment. Wear head protection anytime you work below others who are using items that could fall or when working around objects that are close to your head. Many types of eye protection are available for a wide range of hazards. Wear eye protection whenever you work near molding, cutting, grinding, sanding, and other operations that produce objects that may fly into your eyes. Wear proper eye protection to prevent chemicals from splashing into your eyes. Wear special protection around welding operations to prevent eye injury from welding arcs. Never look directly at a welding arc without protection. Use this protection even if you're not the welder. Use adequate hearing protection anytime you work for long periods in areas where you must raise your voice to be heard. As with eye protection, many situations call for a combination of devices to ensure adequate hearing protection. You need respiratory protection around materials that enter the air at the workstation and beyond. Dusts from solids and mists from liquids are two of these hazards. Wear safety footwear whenever you handle materials that could fall onto your feet or whenever you are working around material handling equipment. Use liquid-proof shoes or boots around chemicals, and make sure that your work shoes have adequate traction. Wear gloves when you work around rough, sharp, or hot objects that may abrade, cut, or burn you. Also, wear appropriate protective gloves when working with chemicals. This was a very general description of basic PPE. Make sure that you have exactly what you need and use it at all times. Emergency evacuation. Here are a few concerns about the workplace itself. Your host employer must have a written emergency action plan at the job site. Supervisors must orient workers to the physical environment of the job site. You must know emergency procedures and the locations of emergency exits. Slips, trips, and falls. Good housekeeping prevents many slip, trip, and fall hazards. Clean up spilled materials such as oil or water immediately, and keep work areas and aisles clear of materials and equipment, especially waste. Pay particular attention to hoses and extension cords. Fall protection. Employees must be protected from falls anytime work takes place 4 feet or above the main surface. Scaffolds, man lifts, or other work platforms must have standard guardrails. If guardrails are not feasible, the host employer must provide a safety net system, or each worker must have a personal fall protection system, which must include a safety harness and secure lanyard. Floor openings must be guarded or securely covered. If you need to climb a ladder to access a roof or higher work area, the ladder must extend at least 3 feet above the landing and must be secured to the landing. Always face the ladder while climbing up or down, and never carry anything while climbing. Confined space. Confined spaces are not designed for continuous occupancy and present many hazards. Never enter a label-identified confined space without permission and without safety precautions. Hazard communication. Globally Harmonized Standard, GHS. Temporary employees have the right to know about the chemicals they will be working around. A list of chemicals is available at each job site that identifies all hazardous chemicals with the potential for employee exposure at this workplace. Detailed information about the physical, health, and other hazards of each chemical is included on the Safety Data Sheet, SDS. Each individual will be responsible for adhering to the safe work practices established for the handling and use of hazardous materials within their work area. In addition, they will be responsible for notifying their supervisor of any deficiency found within their work area. All hazardous chemical containers used will either be labeled with the original manufacturer's label, that includes a product identifier, an appropriate signal word, hazard statements, pictograms, precautionary statements, and the name, address, and telephone number of the chemical manufacturer, importer, or other responsible party, or a label with the appropriate label elements just described. Or workplace labeling that includes the product identifier and words, pictures, symbols, or combination that provide at least general information regarding the hazards of the chemicals. Machine guarding. Never use any machinery or equipment without permission, and make sure your supervisor demonstrates safe operation before you use it. Never attempt to service a machine while it is still operating. Machine guards are in place for your protection. A good rule is that if you can reach over, around, or through a guard into a machine's point of operation, it is not properly guarded. Never remove guards for any reason. Conveyors, lift tables, roof-suspended cranes, and other equipment must be safe and guarded, but operations often expose moving parts, pinch and catch points, and suspended loads. Remain alert and clear of these hazards at all times. Do not use this equipment without training and permission. Do not wear long hair, clothing, or jewelry that could catch on any part of a machine. Forklift safety. Do not use powered industrial vehicles unless you have been trained. Also, be aware of their movements throughout the workplace. Make eye contact with the operators and always give right-of-way to a moving vehicle. Lockout, tagout. When service and maintenance is performed on energized equipment, all energy sources must be locked out and residual energy released before work begins. Types of energies include air, hydraulic, spring, gravity, electric, steam, chemical, etc. Only authorized employees are permitted to repair or service equipment. Authorized employees are those who have received lockout-tagout training on each piece of equipment they are locking out. Affected employees are not authorized to lock out equipment. However, they must understand the purpose and use of lockout-tagout. Every person entering a lockout area must affix their own lock and tag. Once the power source is locked out, a test must be made at the affected machine to ensure the energy source is actually turned off. Only the person who attached his or her lock can remove the lock. Do not remove another person's lock. When service or maintenance is complete and the machine, equipment, or process is ready to be re-energized, check the machine, equipment, or process and immediate area around the machine, equipment, or process to ensure that non-essential items have been removed and that machine, equipment, or process components are operationally intact. Check the work area to ensure that all employees have been safely positioned or removed from the area. Verify that the controls are in neutral and notify affected employees that the servicing or maintenance is complete and the machine is ready for use. Ergonomics. Ergonomics strives for a balance between worker capabilities and job demands by fitting a task to the person rather than forcing the person to adapt to the task. For example, material delivered between knuckle and shoulder height is less stressful to handle than material placed on the floor or on shelves above your head. Even something as simple as breaking a large load into several smaller loads makes the task safer. Material handling devices mentioned earlier lessen the need to move items by hand and keep workers safer. Fire response. Make sure you have the right fire extinguisher for the fire you are dealing with. Every fire extinguisher should have a rating, ABC, AB, and BC, displayed on its faceplate. Some fire extinguishers have multiple ratings. Class A fires are fueled by ordinary solid combustibles, wood, paper, and cloth. Class B fires are fueled by liquids or gases, gasoline, propane, grease, and oil. Class C fires are sometimes called electrical fires, appliances, switches, panel boxes, and power tools. ABC, dry chemical fire extinguishers, are used on solid combustible fires. AB, foam fire extinguishers, are used on solid combustible and liquid and gas fires. BC, CO2, dry chemical fire extinguishers, are used on liquid and gas and electrical fires. Water is a bad idea for Class C fires, as they are electrical hazards. Type ABC or BC fire extinguishers must be used. When using a fire extinguisher, learn to use the pass method. P, pull the pin. A, aim the extinguisher at the base of the fire. S, squeeze the trigger. S, sweep the extinguisher from side to side along the base of the fire. Bloodborne pathogens. Bloodborne pathogens are infectious materials in blood and certain bodily fluids that can cause disease in humans, including hepatitis B and C and human immunodeficiency virus, HIV. Exposure occurs when treating and assisting in the treatment of an illness or injury of a coworker, when cleaning up after an illness or injury, inadvertent contact from contamination that was not properly or entirely cleaned up. Exposure can also occur in your personal life while coaching sports, working with scouts, or helping in an accident. Protect yourself before assisting another. Use personal protective equipment such as gloves, gowns, and masks. Report to your job site supervisor and Selectemp directly after the incident, and you will be referred to a medical facility at no cost to you. This includes conducting laboratory tests, providing a confidential medical evaluation, identifying and testing the source individual, if feasible, testing the exposed employee's blood, offering counseling, and evaluating reported illnesses. All diagnoses must remain confidential. Hypodermic needles and lancets need to be disposed of in sharps containers. Bandages and dressings that are soaked with blood need to be put in a biohazard bag and disposed of properly. Closing. These are just a few hazards you may find at your workplace. Your host employer must provide site-specific training, including informing you of hazards and means of protection from them. You must follow those instructions. Be sure your job site supervisor answers your questions regarding safe work procedures and that you have received on-site safety instruction before you start to work. Please use this program as a basic introduction and guideline to potential hazards in this type of work. Selectemp does not intend this program to replace more detailed training called for by federal or state regulations or company policies. Our hope is that you found the information covered in the safety video you just viewed to be worthy of your time and energy. After watching our safety videos, we hope that you are in alignment with Selectemp's belief that your safety is paramount to us and should also be to you. Do not lose sight of the fact that you are, in almost every case, in charge of your own safety. Take it seriously and do all you can to keep you and your coworkers safe. Do not hesitate to call us if you are ever concerned about yours or a coworker's safety. We always recommend that you speak to a site supervisor. However, should that not be an option, we are always available to discuss your safety. It is imperative that if you are injured on the job, you notify us as soon as possible. We want to be certain that you are routed in the proper direction should you decide you need to seek medical attention. We also want to be sure that you understand the process once entering the workers' compensation process. We would like to take a moment and be sure you understand what we expect from you and what you can expect from your partnership with Selectemp. Number 1. You are not obligated to accept any job we offer you. Ask questions. Be certain you have all the information you need before making the commitment. If you do commit to the job offered, please be there. Do the job to the best of your ability. If you are unable to make it for any reason, call us. Communication is vital to this being a successful partnership. We rely on you communicating with us so that we can communicate with our customers. Number 2. If your assignment ends for whatever reason, call us. Let us know you are once again available, and we will do all we can to place you in an opportunity that matches your talent. Number 3. Our work week runs Monday through Sunday. You are responsible on the majority of the assignments for entering your time into our PeopleNet system. Your Selectemp representative will ensure you have all of the information you need upon acceptance of your assignment. Number 4. Paydays are every Thursday. Your pay will either be direct deposited into an account of your choosing, or it will be deposited onto a cash card for your convenience. You will choose which is the best option for you. Number 5. It will never be Selectemp's intention to place you in any environment that you are not treated in a respectful fashion. Should you find yourself in a situation that is not in alignment with that intent, please contact us immediately. On the flip side, we ask that every Selectemp employee treat anyone they encounter on the worksite with the utmost respect in their dealings as well. Last but certainly not least, this is a partnership. We are here to discuss any concerns you might have or any successes you want to share. Do not hesitate to call us.